We are live, everybody! Woo! Hey!
Woo! Halloween!
Woo, spooky! Hello, everybody, to the LimitedNight live podcast, episode number 21. And,
It's a spooktacular
as you can
podcast
see,
today.
everybody's in the season except for, James and
Those two.
Gabe. And
I'm in the season, I'm you, look! Here's Winston.
Yeah, and I'm a Limited Night fan.
See?
Guys
There's
are-
a really depressed looking dog, just like Winston.
God damn it! My costume's funny because I edited in Premiere. The costume's offline. Get it?
That's a pretty good joke. I'll have to give it
the
a 10 out of
greatest
10.
I stole
I've
it.
ever seen.
I stole it from Reddit. I'll be honest.
You would.
10 minutes before this podcast started, I went to Reddit. I found the post and I took a copy of his costume and then printed it.
Nice.
God damn it, Adam.
So I should
Trying to get
probably,
this podcast. I'm trying to actually watch this podcast so that I can get the link so I can do social media. There we go.
Is that because
I
our
found
fearless leaders flaked out?
Probably.
Yes.
So I should
if I look
probably...
like I'm looking up, I'm
Yeah.
looking at my second monitor so I can do social media real quick.
While he's doing that, I should probably introduce everybody. So, I'm your host, Kevin, as always, except for last week, because James was the host. Speaking of, James is right there. Say hello, James.
Hello!
And then we got my good pal Adam there, doing his thing.
Ayo, I'm social mediaing because Tim's dead.
And then Gabe has returned from the last podcast to join us.
Hi.
So yeah, so it's a pretty good roster we got tonight. So obviously Halloween is next week, Tuesday, and of course it's the time of year when everybody wants to go around and scare the pants off of people because we're all sick and sadistic, and somewhere in our bodies. So I thought we'd spend this podcast just talking about everything that's terrifying and all that jazz. So, as you know, Adam and me are pretty big, and James too, are pretty big horror movie buffs, I think, to the most.
Yeah, I like zombie stuff, but yeah, I'll go with it.
And I don't know about Gabe. I know Gabe's terrified of scary things, right?
Yeah, I hate all things horror ever since I was young.
So this should be fun. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll just throw it out there. So, what are some of your guys' favorite horror movies? It doesn't
Alright.
doesn't really matter
Alright.
which.
This moment, like,
This- okay,
Adam's
so-
like, here's my list of 20.
This is my favorite horror movie and probably my favorite movie of all time. Maybe if you don't count Goon. It's gonna
the
be
best horror
John
movie,
John
too.
Carpenter's The Thing.
Good choice. This is a good movie.
That's a fantastic movie.
Now, what are some of the aspects that you most enjoy about that
Okay.
movie, Adam?
Okay, so I'm gonna start off with the most obvious one that everybody loves. The practical effects in that movie are amazing.
Oh, they're the
Some
bomb.
of the best practical effects ever. The guy who did the practical effects actually worked, I think, 7 days a week for an entire year, and immediately after he was done working on the special effects, he had to be hospitalized because of just exhaustion. Like, they had to take him to a hospital because he had, like, pretty much worked himself almost to death for a whole year.
Now that's dedication.
Great. But, I mean, besides even the practical effects, it's just a great movie, like... It's like, there's so much suspense built in that you don't know who the Thing is at any one time, and even some of the people who made the movie went back and watch it still, that they don't even know who is the Thing at, like, this, like, at certain times in the movie, because they just don't give it, like, away to you.
And
Yeah.
it starred one of my favorite actors, which is Kurt Russell.
Oh, Kurt Russell,
I
yeah.
love
Kurt
Kurt
Russell
Russell.
is
Kurt
the
Russell's
bomb.
amazing. I mean, and he was in Sky High and everything.
He was the titular
He was
character.
very good in Sky High, thank you very much.
Yeah, the scary movie Sky High. No, I would have to say I too find The Thing to be up there in one of my tops just because of, like you said, the practical effects are like, it's just probably one of the some of the best of all time in Hollywood, when it comes to horror at least. And it's just, I don't know, because it really gives off that feel of isolation since they're in the fucking Arctic wilderness fucking there's nowhere, no, the only other people that they found were fucking killed by the thing. So it's like, and they can't reach anybody because nobody can in horror movies. That's the whole thing. But
that's the point.
Yeah. So, and I also want to get your opinion on this, Adam, and I guess you too, James, because you've seen it also. What do you think at the end of the movie? Do you think that, I don't know what the black guy's name is, but do you think he's the thing?
Oh, isn't it? I think it was Childs, right?
Yeah, because there's that theory going around that Kurt Russell's character was like testing him because he gave him the bottle, but it was like
gasoline.
Yeah. So what is
he drank it and didn't react?
Yeah. So what's your take on that? Yeah.
So I think it's a great theory, and I think I would love it. I think it would be great, but and I'm not sure if this is true, but I think didn't they come out and confirm that wasn't the case?
I don't know.
I'm not sure, but I think it's almost a better story if it is.
Yeah.
Because
I
think that's a way better ending than.
Well, I mean, because Kurt Russell's character kind of reacts kind of in an interesting way when he drinks it. Yeah, he's like, oh, okay, like he kind of laughs, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, could be. I mean, it's a good theory, like you said.
Yeah, it's a good theory. I love theories like that are like, oh, what, like, is he the thing? And I would like to make it my personal headcanon almost that is the case.
Yeah.
What do you think is the remake of the thing? Because I have not seen it.
So the 2011 one isn't a remake; it's a prequel. So remember that?
Okay.
It's
I've not seen it, so I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, the confusing part is they didn't call it anything. They called it The Thing. They said they named it the exact same thing, despite the fact that it's a prequel. Like, it takes place at the Norwegian camp that they visit, like, in the movie.
Yeah.
And I thought the movie was okay. As a movie, I don't think it's as good as the original. But the part that really bums me out is that they just went CGI for the thing instead of using practical effects, which I don't even get because they had a lot of really great practical effects that they even shot. Like, the plan was to go completely practical, and they had filmed almost the entire movie like that. And then here's what some studio executive did. He watched the movie and said, this looks too much like a movie from the 80s. We need to modernize it. And it's like, yeah, the original movie was from the 80s. Is that not what's happening here? Like, and they're like, nope, it needs to all be CGI. And it's like, and they just covered over the practical effects with CGI.
Damn. So, I was thinking about this, so, going back to the name thing. Get it? I wonder if it would have been, like, an interesting thing to, like, name it something else that has no relation to the thing, and then, like, the twist is, like, oh, it's a prequel to the thing, y'all. I wonder if that would have been interesting. I don't know, though, if, like, well, I mean, I guess it would be kind of hard to, like, you probably figure it out, like, halfway through the movie.
You haven't seen the movie, right, Kevin?
No.
Yeah, I think it's too obvious in the movie that it's a prequel already. Yeah. Like, they're in, like, the same sort of base, like, the same sort of, like snowmobile, like, car things and stuff like that, and, like, but yeah, because, like, the thing is shown, like less than halfway through the movie, like, it bursts out of the giant ice thing they found him in. But, like, the thing that they fucked up about that movie, too, is they, remember, like, when they went and they found, like, the old tapes that showed, like, the Norwegians, like, blowing up the ice? They don't even show that in this movie. They just show them digging a hole and pulling this thing out of the ice, and it's like, what are you doing?
It's like, you
didn't even show it. Like, you went through and did all this detail to make sure, like, because, in the Norwegian camp in the original, where it's like, oh, they find all the bodies and stuff like that, every single body they found that they showed in the original movie, they showed exactly how that person ended up in that situation. Like, the one where it's, like, the two faces merged together, that's, frozen outside, they showed how that happened, They showed how the dude was, like, he would, like, had his throat slit, and, like, there was, like, frozen blood dripping down his arms.
That was really
cool. They showed
cool.
how that dude got there. Actually, no, I think that was a deleted scene, but they did film it at some point. And there were a couple others that they just, like, you see how it ended up in the situation, and then the end of the movie, spoilers, even though it's not really a spoiler, it just leads right into the beginning of the original, where it's like the dog's running away and the two guys get in the helicopter and chase after it.
Yeah. Well, it's like, Well, yeah. Back to the point is like, did you even like watch the original movie to like even?
Well, I would ask that if they hadn't like taken so much time to show that they went back and redid all the deaths exactly how they were. But
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't show the thermite for whatever reason.
But
I don't know.
what it is you are talking about a very good Halloween film here. So with that, I've got to say, Gabe, what's your favourite Halloween film?
Yeah, totally. I totally watch a lot of Halloween films and scary films. I can tell you my most hated one is Chucky. But I've got to say,
yeah.
my favorite Halloween film is a kids' TV film called Hotel Transylvania.
I've never seen the first one. I've only seen the second one, but I didn't think it was that bad.
It's pretty good, honestly. It's one
I've
of
seen both of them. I've seen both of them.
We can discuss the movies. I just wanted to sort of take like a sidetrack, but then we'll hop right back into that conversation. Is that when you say favorite Halloween movie, that doesn't necessarily have to be like scary movies or anything. Halloween movies can be like oh, what's the like really popular? I think like Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Is like one that like a bunch of people love.
Yeah,
I don't get the love for it.
We were looking at a list of them, or Gabe was looking at a list of them to try and remind herself what films she liked around Halloween.
But back to,
she's like, I really like Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah, well, back to Hotel Transylvania. Honestly, that's probably one of the better, like, well, because Adam Sandler plays the Dracula character, and like,
He does?
yeah,
he does.
and he's
Dracula,
and he's actually like, you know, that's one of the few recent Adam Sandler performances that's actually pretty good. So, and yeah, no, it's a cute movie, and it, you know, it's pretty. It's
a cute movie.
It's
God,
a good
that
time.
was so polite of him.
No.
I feel like Kev's just like, wow.
No, literally though. No, I actually really like that movie. Not gonna lie. Like it's
I
it's
like
pretty
the second
good.
one.
Yeah, the second
Again,
one's
I
pretty
never
good
saw
too.
The first one, but
I've seen both of them because the first one was on Netflix and I bought the second one.
Yeah.
see, here's the I don't know if that's like
They
the
made a
difference between
second
the
one of
UK and
that?
Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
It is pretty decent.
So here's the thing: the weird part over here is on US Netflix, anyway, is they only have the second one on Netflix. They don't have the first one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Netflix
it's
over
changed
here.
around now. It's changed around now. They only have the second one and not the first one
Oh,
now.
yeah.
But-
Okay.
So weird.
It's really weird, Netflix.
Can I just say, by the way, that I hate that Netflix does that? That's like, oh, we only have the sequels. Like, they only have Tremors 5 on Netflix. They don't have any of the other ones. They just have Tremors
oh, wait,
5.
It's the one Tremors
Adam.
film I don't own. I've got to get on Netflix now. Excuse me.
Do you,
So-
Adam, do you know what's the best thing? For the
Uh-huh.
longest time, Netflix only had the Shrek sequels, but now Shrek 1's on Netflix.
It is?
Yeah.
I'll be right back, guys. So,
I'll see you in
can I
about an
just
hour and a half.
Bring up,
Just
I
log
know,
off and Kevin's on his mask. Just sitting
I know that it's a spooky podcast, and I do want to get back to that, but I want to bring up something that pisses me off about Netflix, okay?
Yeah.
So, directly when the summer started, like around May, June, they took off Jaws, and like all those like that, like Jaws is a very summer movie. They took that off, right? And they put on like all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, all the Friday the 13th, all of those movies, right? And then the second September, October hits, they ripped all of those movies off of Netflix and put Jaws back on Netflix. Summer's over now. You get Jaws. You don't get scary movies anymore. And it's like, God damn it, Netflix. Like, why? Why are you taking all of your scary movies off right before Halloween?
Speaking of Netflix and spooky things, Stranger Things season 2. Am I right?
Today.
Yeah, it's
Actually,
today.
isn't it already
season
out?
1, so I wouldn't know anything about it.
Oh,
James,
you need to binge
it's
watch
pretty good.
all of season 1, right?
It's
But
pretty good.
honestly, like, I don't watch, like
I apologize
my
for the dogs
my
barking.
movie history kind of stops about 5 years ago, my movie and TV thing, and then I just stopped watching. Like, I'm so far behind on everything, it's just not even funny.
You need to watch Stranger Things.
Well, like Stranger Things, it's
That's
like,
what everyone tells me.
I mean, it's like it's a throwback to the 80s. And it's
Listen,
I
cool.
have not watched it.
You
I've-
should watch
No
it too.
vaguely
So-
what happens.
Here's the thing: is I feel like I fucked up with this one because I feel like I'm setting my expectations too high. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying like I don't believe in them. It's just I don't want to be disappointed.
Yeah, I hear you. But I mean, people have been saying it's pretty good. I haven't watched any of it yet because my mom and I are gonna watch it. Some of it probably tonight, actually. And
Yeah,
I know,
my family's gonna watch
yeah.
it tonight too.
yeah. So, Yeah, hopefully it'll be pretty good, and I have a feeling it will be. But
I have faith.
So yeah, but anyways, back to movies. So I guess I'll talk about my favorite, one of my favorite horror movies, and it would have to be the Evil Dead series, just in kind of general, because
they're great films.
Like,
that's a great choice.
So the first one, it's kind of, so it's pretty low budget. Obviously, the first one's pretty it was back in the 70s when everybody was trying to make movies back then. And it's just,
has that even really changed though? Isn't everybody still trying to make movies today? Except now you could just take your phone and then put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Instead of back then where it's like, okay, well you had to buy film. Whoa, what is this fucking dolly zoom that James is doing?
No, I'm holding the table back. Hang on, I'm gonna get something to show Kevin. Hang on.
Okay. Well,
we'll move back to discussing Evil Dead when he gets back. But I just sort of wanted to sort of transition off of that for a second to the whole when everyone's trying to make movies. It's like everybody's trying to make movies still, except now you can film, edit, and upload a movie all from your phone. There are editing apps on your phone to the point where if you really wanted to take the time, you could arrange the clips in such a way on your phone that you would never have to even move it off to a separate thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey Kevin, look.
Oh, it's the Necronomicon. That's so cool. Where'd you get that?
Necronomicon.
I bought it. It's the proper Book of the Dead with the DVD in the middle of it and everything.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to look for that because that's pretty boss. But
yeah, it comes with a special book which I've never read.
No, it's probably it would probably summon the dead though. I wouldn't recommend.
Can I just say, by the way, I love how Gabe is just typing in chat to everybody.
Yeah.
What's
she supposed to do?
What I like
talk about
this
the Evil Dead.
Well, she doesn't know anything about it.
What are your thoughts on the Evil Dead, Gabe?
I have never watched it.
What I like about this book is
you're
that it also gives you websites to go to. I don't know if that will come up on camera or not.
Oh yeah.
Where you can go to the cast websites and also fan sites. Here's a list of the Evil Dead top fan sites to go to.
Yeah.
Great.
But actually, Gabe, I mean, The Evil Dead, it is like a horror movie, but it's got a lot of comedy to it.
Which I don't like Shaun of the Dead.
You don't like Shaun of the Dead? Why not?
I've watched it.
Can we just sensitize Gabe to horror?
I actually have
in a room with horror films like
I have a
Shaun of the Dead's not even scary.
Do you want to know why I don't like horror?
Okay. Why?
Because when I was like 3, 4, or 5, one of the fucking younger ages, right? My brothers took me into a room, sat me down and said, we're going to show you this nice program. Then they put Chucky on the TV, then showed me a doll that I had that looked like Chucky, sat it in the corner of my room on the highest shelf so I couldn't reach it. And that's why I'm really terrified of horror.
Right.
Okay, can I just say something about
Chucky, sure, but why not every other horror film that has nothing to do with dolls, Gabe?
Because I don't like horror.
So I'm gonna be honest. I don't think Child's Play is that scary.
No.
I don't think anybody thinks it's that scary.
It's pretty laughable.
to be granted, she was 5, and actually I had a similar experience, which turned me off of horror for a while, but I did get into it again eventually over the past couple of years. But when I was 5, my dad had me watch Creepshow, which again isn't a scary horror movie, but as a 5-year-old it was pretty scary. And that's like an anthology one where there's like 5 or whatever. And it's like, I know that it's not scary, but I still think I'd almost have problems watching it just because I was 5 and it traumatized me.
That's fair,
as a little 5-year-old baby. But it didn't ruin horror for me forever. I eventually got back into it.
But
horror films I'm fine with. Jump scare games, a little bit harder, but horror films...
We'll get into that later. We're going to be talking about some horror games too, probably.
I'm the opposite, though. I prefer jump scare games over psychological thrillers.
I mean,
okay. I have a question for you. Would you rather play Outlast for 2.5 hours or watch The Shining?
Play Outlast for 2.5 hours.
Really? The Shining is a great movie. Honestly, I also wanted to talk about that. I love that movie.
Oh, The Shining is great. Yeah.
And what's the documentary about it? It's like Room 237 or 247.
Yeah.
It's like some documentary where it's like a bunch of fucking crazy people talk about what they actually think The Shining's about.
Yeah.
Like some people are like, oh, it's Stanley Kubrick apologizing for faking the movie.
That's the
true meaning of The Shining. What the fuck?
Yeah, I saw like an excerpt from it. It was like, it's like, when the point where Danny, he's playing with his like toys and like on the carpet and stuff. It's like there's a point where he's like, so Danny, you see, he's wearing the Apollo shirt, and as he stands up, it signifies the rising of the rocket, and it's so fucking stupid.
It's really dumb.
But it's like, I don't know, it's great. But
there are some like legitimate theories. The problem with that documentary is it puts a bunch of like legitimate or like people with legitimate theories in the same video as people who think that it's apologizing for faking the moon landing. So there's no, like, consistency in it at all, to the point where it's like, oh, maybe that's what he intended, because they also put it next to people. There was another crazy one, too, that's like, it's an allegory for something or whatever. It was, like, some really stupid thing. And it's like, I don't know.
You can find
like,
meaning in anything if you want to try hard enough.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But yeah, you'd rather play Outlast than watch The Shining?
Yep.
Wait, like, okay, in terms of it would be more enjoyable or it would be less scary?
Less scary.
I disagree.
Yeah.
That's fine.
No, like, Outlast, I'm doing something. The Shining, I'm just sat there and waiting for it to come to me.
Well, that's my thing, is that, like, with movies, it's like, okay, I can just, like, I'm passive for this entire thing and whatever happens, happens. In video games... So, I'm going to talk about Outlast 2, which is something I played a lot for this channel. There was one part in particular that I did, and then I had to redo for the stream, since, everybody insisted that I restart, despite the fact nobody was here to watch, because they're all RTX. So, there's this part in Outlast 2 where there's this giant wall, and there's, like, this hay cart that you have to push to the wall, and while you're pushing it, like, the really tall woman with the axe who likes to cut your balls open, she like, pops out and chases you, and you have to keep running, hiding, and then running, pushing the cart, or pushing it a little bit farther, running, hiding, and then eventually you push it all the way to the wall, and jump over just before she can get you. But the part about that's the one thing, it's like, I actually have to do this, and it's like, I can't just sit here and watch somebody do it, I have to actively do this myself. Which is the part that's like, I don't know, that part in the game just bugs me anyway, because it's like, it seems so much like wash, rinse, repeat, whereas Outlast 1 seemed more of like, you didn't have to do exactly the way they wanted you to do it, you could sort of like go through it yourself, whereas Outlast 2 is like, if you don't follow this exact path and do this exact thing in the exact right order in the exact right time, you're dead. So... Oh
no, but it's like... when it gets like that in games, I get more annoyed at it than I get scared by it. Because like towards the end of Outlast, there was that thing where these other guys came rushing after me, and I had to go through random things. Yeah, I kept dying, but I discovered a bit more each time. And I just like, oh yeah, I had to this. I was literally muttering to myself. I don't know if you can hear it on the stream, but I was literally muttering to myself, up, go, round, through, over. Literally saying that to myself because I knew that.
That's the thing about horror games that's the one problem I have with horror games, actually, is that doesn't scare me. That just annoys me, and it makes me not want to play the game anymore. Like, no, I want to be scared. I don't want to have to figure out this puzzle, because eventually it's not scary anymore. I'm not scared of trying to figure this out while these dudes are chasing me. Now it just gets annoying, because the jump scare... It's like Five Nights at Freddy's, Like, that game, it's... spooky for, like, the first 15 minutes you play it. Like, this is kind of creepy, the jump scares get you. But then eventually it's like, on, like, night 5, I've seen people where it's like, you have to nail everything perfectly in order to beat it. It's like, this isn't scary anymore. This is just annoying. Oh, you're screaming in my face again. Great. Excellent. I'm not scared of your game anymore. That's just annoyed. Whereas...
The other thing with FNAF as well is that you get, at least the first one, because I remember Gavin and Michael from Achievement Hunter playing it, and when the jump scare happens, there's like that kind of musical bit where the eyes flash a bit before it does the ruh into the screen. And I don't know, maybe playing it's different, because I have to admit I've not played that game, but at least watching it, I was like, I don't know why they're jump scaring. You know it's going to happen, because the guy's just chinkling and you can't do nothing about it. So immediately you steel yourself to be like, right, I know it's going to be a jump scare in the next 2 seconds.
Okay, so
or something.
That doesn't happen. That only happens if like you run out of power towards the end of the night. But if you're like really close to the end of the night and you run out of power, the reason it's kind of tense is because it's like you can still survive that if the clock ticks over before he jumps out at you.
Okay.
It's also he varies on. It's not the exact same timing every single time. It varies in timing. Like sometimes he could go like do 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 bump, and sometimes he gets all the way to the end of the song before he jumps.
And then he even like turns off, and you sit in
I've
darkness
not
with
played
like
it,
waiting for it to happen. But I've seen people, who do Let's Plays do that, where they're like when they know it's over. And they just get annoyed of it. It's like, I'm just taking my headphones off. I'm not listening to this again. It's dumb. It's not scary. It's just annoying.
Okay.
It's like, no, it's over.
Since we transferred over to games, so what are your guys' like favorite horror games of all time that you've played?
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil's pretty good, yeah.
Resident Evil up until maybe 5, and then they ruined it.
Didn't they bring it back with 7 though?
Yeah.
I've not played 7, but I do hear they have brought it back. Yeah.
You really need to change because that's one of my favorite horror games is Resident Evil.
I will
7.
when I get the money. I will. It's just I didn't want to pay full price for it because I made that mistake with 5. Like 4 was really good, and then 5 I went out and bought, and I was like, eh. And then I had a mate who played 6 and was just like, never touch 6.
Yeah.
As long as you live, never touch 6. I was like, okay, and then. As a result, I kind of got burnt, so I was like, I'm not going to buy this on launch day, so I was waiting for it to come down, and now I'm in a phase of, like, a game has to be kind of 10 quid or I'm not bothering, and it's just not hit that mark yet, because it's still too new.
Yeah.
So I have to say, my favorite one I've ever played, and I haven't played a lot, I've only played, like, 3 or 4, so I'm going to say by default it's going to have to... Well, not by default, because it is a really good horror game, but Alien Isolation. I really liked.
It's pretty good.
That. I didn't play it on the channel. I played this one more on my own time. But I played Alien Isolation with my friend who, because my friend who had moved to Texas recently, so I haven't got the chance to play it. But we were, like, hanging out, and we went to GameStop after we went to the movies, since there's a GameStop near my local theater. And we were looking like, all right, we're like, okay, we need to find a good horror game to play. So this is actually before we went to the movies because we were gonna watch a horror movie, and we're like, we need to play something because he was gonna spend the night at my house. So it's like we need to do something to get like really scared. And the only 2 we could find at GameStop at the time were Alien Isolation and Until Dawn, I think. And we already knew everything like that happened in Until Dawn. Because we'd seen videos on it, so it's like, well, that's not really going to be scary, so we got to get Alien Isolation. And we did that, and then we just played that, like, all night.
It's another one of my favorite
game. I own it, I've just not played it.
That game has really, really good AI in it.
Yeah.
Like, really good, like the Alien AI is really good at, like
it's learning.
Because, like, there's a lot of parts in the game where, like, you have to walk around, and you have to find a way through and, like, do things in, you're in a pretty much a blocked-in area, and the alien is just wandering around, so you have to try and avoid being detected by the alien, but, like, the alien will crawl in, like, vents, so sometimes you won't see it walking around, and, like, there are vents that are, like, above you. And, like, there are tells that you can see, like, don't walk under that vent, like, because I think sometimes you could see it's, like, spit hanging down, and if you walk under it, it'll, like, jump down at you from the ceiling. But, that one has really good AI, and we didn't put this mode on, but there was a mode in that game where you could set it up with a microphone on, so that if you made any noise with the microphone, or, like, if you made, like noise at all, it would, like, hear you. So, like, I think it would depend on how loud you were being. I think the louder you were, obviously, the louder you were in the game. But I thought that was really cool, too. Like, if you were like, you have to be quiet if you're in the room with the alien, otherwise it'll hear you.
So,
what's Red Room? The Red Room game? Like, it basically, you're on a computer, and you're trying to hack into the deep, dark web, blah, blah, blah. But if a thing pops up on the screen, you have to turn off the lights, turn off the computer, take a step back, and then, but if you make any noise into your microphone, he will find you and kill you.
Spooky.
Yeah.
Speaking of spooky games, so James, what's happening tomorrow? Huh?
Tomorrow
Nice
we're playing
segue,
spooky games. Tomorrow we are doing a Halloween stream that starts at 5 p.m. GMT time, and we will be going for, in British time, 15 hours because the clocks go back in the middle of it.
Okay, here's the thing. I think it's gonna be 15 hours no matter what. I don't think it's gonna be 15 hours for you, 14 hours for us.
But you know what I mean.
That's not how time works.
So you know what I mean anyway. It'll be a 15-hour stream, and we're all taking a scary game. So right now the running order, which is available on our Twitter, if you go to @TheLimitedNight, you can see it. But the running order is: Gabe will be kicking us off at 5 p.m. until 7 with Spooky's House of Jump Scares, and then I shall be coming in and playing Dread Out from 7 till 9, which is like a Japanese Resident Evil-ish, Silent Hill-ish type game, by the look of it anyway. I don't know much about it, to be honest, just the way I like it. And then from 9 till 11, we're all playing Dead by Daylight, all 6 of us, all the on-screen people and head of community, because Gabe is technically not on-screen, but, you know, slowly getting there. So
well, it depends if it's convenient for her.
It depends if it's convenient, yeah. Straight off the back of Dead by Daylight, at the request of all the fans and Kevin and Adam, Tim will be going back into Alien Isolation for 2 hours. Kevin and Adam will be joining in for that one because they were participating in the videos when he did it as a video series. For reference, because I know we've got a couple of fairly new people watching this podcast right now, Tim hates Alien Isolation and is terrified by everything that happens in that game.
It is not just that he hates Alien Isolation. He gets scared at the drop of a pin when he's playing horror games.
Yeah.
Because we played that game, and we played like, you know how that nothing happens in that game for like the first hour of gameplay, and he was jumping at everything that was happening around him the whole time. He's like,
yeah,
nothing happened.
If you guys
no scares anything.
If you guys want to have a good laugh, you guys should go check out. I think there's 2 videos we did in it.
There's 2 videos, yeah.
You guys should go.
They're in a playlist called Scary Games if people want to find them.
Tim loses his shit. There's a point where his significant other comes in to give him something, and he just flips out. It's pretty great.
He's like, ah!
It's pretty great.
Amazing.
So that's from 11 until 1, and then from what was 1 till 3, but I guess is now 1 till 4 technically.
Yeah.
Davey will be playing.
1 till 3.
Well, yeah, okay, but Davey will be playing Five Nights at Freddy's. Fine, Gabe.
If you make it 1 till 4, then he has his own 4-hour slot with the time change.
Anywho, Dave will be playing the aforementioned Five Nights at Freddy's. Probably a couple of them, because even if he completes one, it's probably not going to fill the time slot.
I mean,
so
he's probably not going to beat it.
He's going to dabble between a few, I think.
I think we should let him, maybe. If he gets stuck at one, we should just let him move on to the beginning of the next one.
Yeah.
He might get stuck.
He's got all of them, so he'll be dabbling in and out of all of them at some point, I expect. And then after that is Adam, I believe. Correct, Adam?
Yeah.
Who's playing a game called Blameless that I only know the Steam synopsis of, but it's something to do with an architect getting stuck in a house or something.
I looked up horror games that are free, and it had very positive reviews. Okay? So...
based on the fact that game says it only takes about an hour to do, Adam may end up transitioning to something else. But...
It said you can complete it in a half an hour.
Animal milk it.
Technically, you can complete Cuphead in 24 minutes. That's the world record. So
Jesus,
that's just some mega super duper speedrunner time, probably.
Probably.
Yeah. So
it'll probably take actually about 4 hours to beat it.
So Adam will do that, and then we're rounding it off with Kevin playing Evil Within 2.
Yep.
And the long and short of it is we'll all be on at some point during that stream. All of us will be in chat and in the text chat. A couple of us, I think, myself specifically, I know, but I think a couple of others are going to try and stay up for the whole 15 hours as well with everybody. So that'll be good fun. So everyone should come watch it.
So I don't think this is because before my time, we've had something like this in the past where somebody's done like 24 hours. I think Richard did something like that, right, Adam?
Did it, yeah.
But
24 hours.
But I guess
I know, because when I told Richard about it, he was like, "Why?"
But to be fair, Richard tried to do a stream all by himself.
Yeah.
For that long.
So this is like the first time for this generation of Limited Night to do something like that grandiose, I guess. So it'll be really interesting to see how it goes, especially since we're gonna be like there's gonna be a lot of.
The other thing as well is by the time people are hearing this, Kevin, on catch up, because this is will get released on the kind of catch up on Tuesday. The actual, this is yet to be discussed, so hey, I'm going to reveal it now because I haven't asked Tim yet, but this is my plan. Because Tuesday is Halloween, I'm also intending to release all the archives of the live stream from the weekend for people to watch at some point on Tuesday. Obviously not clashing with the podcast, but at some point.
I kind of forgot this came out on Halloween, so it's a good thing I put on my costume.
Speaking of, I challenged somebody from the community to go back during those streams and just cut a compilation of all of us screaming, because there will be screaming at some point, probably from all of us.
There will be screaming. I mean, Gabe will be screaming. Well, no, sorry. Let me rephrase that. Gabe won't be screaming. Gabe will be doing this.
That's true. Those are the Gabe screams.
Tim will be screaming, for sure.
I will be screaming.
God damn.
I probably will, too.
The mating elephant. Ooh.
This isn't how I want to be remembered.
Too late. You've made
Too bad.
video.
You will be remembered.
Too bad. Sad.
The only thing I will say to anybody watching live, and I guess it's a bit late when they've done catch up, but you can still do it with the videos after they've got up on the archive, is I want to do, as head of streaming, I want to do more of these kind of long form streams, because I think they're good fun over the themes of holidays and things. So what we need is your support, so join us. If you can stay for the full 15 hours, you'll win yourself a hug or something. I don't know, I can't give you a physical prize, but you can win something mentally. And like it, share it with all your friends, because we want to really make that a success and do more of them for you.
I did say this, but I'll say it again, is that I said next RTX London, which Kevin and I will hopefully be there, I did say that I was going to give every single person a hug, or a piggyback ride if they asked for one. But if you come up to me and tell me that you sat through the entire live stream almost a whole year ago at that point, I will give you 2 hugs.
Oh!
So, look out for that.
So yeah, that's it's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to it. I like spooky stuff, and I think we've got a good set of games being played. So hopefully there'll be some good laughs.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully,
it will be great. It will be great time, and
it will be super great fun time.
Hopefully everybody everybody in the community enjoys it, because that's what we do it for. We do it for you guys, because we know you guys like this kind of stuff. So yeah.
People like to see other people get scared. That's why Gabe's stream was so successful.
Yeah, Gabe. I think Gabe's Outlaw stream is something like the second or third most successful live stream we've had. It was the most successful for donations, but we won't go into that. Yeah, in terms of pure viewer count, I think it was second or third on the list.
I have a lot of friends
alongside
who hate me.
stuff like the community one, which is next week, by the way, for people who want to join in on that on Thursday. We're doing a community thing, assuming we don't all die over the Halloween one anyway.
Yeah.
So I know that we don't normally talk with Chad on the podcast, but I would like to point out that Shadow Vortex says, "Oh shit, 2 hugs? That sounds hot."
Oh, you know it. It's the hottest stuff.
It is.
I'm sorry, that sounds pretty wet. Jesus Christ.
That's good, Vortex. It seems like Vortex is pretty good.
So
Quite
bring
good.
it back slightly, Kevin, I've got a question for you guys, because I haven't really given my favourite horror film, and that's because I don't really have one as such. I'm very into zombie films, but I don't think I could choose like an actual favourite horror film in general.
You gotta, so...
But what I am curious, because I'm so into zombie films, is what your favourite zombie film is.
Oh man, that's hard.
I'm not technically counting Gabe in this, because I'm going to assume Gabe has not watched any zombie films apart from Shaun of the Dead, and she didn't like that. So
it's gotta be. Here, you want to go first, Adam?
Well, I just want to say I didn't get a chance to say this last time when we were talking about Shaun of the Dead, but I've also never seen I've never seen Shaun of the Dead.
Get on that, boy.
You should watch it, man. It's a great film.
It's not out of like not being interested or anything. It's just I don't think it's on Netflix, and that's almost like my criteria for watching a movie at this point is it on Netflix? No. Is it on Hulu? No. All right, well there it goes.
Have you seen Hot Fuzz? That's on Netflix.
No, but so here's the thing. My other thing is, you know how I say I procrastinate things?
Yeah.
I procrastinate literally everything. That includes watching movies. So it's like, oh, it's like, oh, I saw like No Country for Old Men. I heard that's really good. It's on Netflix. I'll watch it. I said this probably about 4 or 5 months ago.
No, you should watch that. You should watch that too. It's pretty good. But anyways,
I think
to James
has destroyed my attention span.
To James's point up there, my favorite zombie films have to be these three. I guess would be one, Shaun of the Dead, obviously, because it's just fucking hilarious and great. Zombieland, which I love that movie because Woody Harrelson is great. Yeah. And I this might be, depending on how you think of this movie, the remake of Dawn of the Dead, the one.
Now that's a good film. I'll give you that. That is a lot of people don't like the remake of those because the old ones were held with such a high regard.
Yeah.
Of being like the pinnacle of zombie filming, whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of culture, if you will, from back in the day. But that is actually a really good remake. Like they modernized it and kept some of the old stuff in as well that worked. It was a good film.
Is that one the one with Phil from Modern Family?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
and has a great scene where he's just banging some chick in the mall.
Yeah.
Like...
and they're doing it, and it's funny because
he is. Gabe, you went to see the film, so I'll set the scene for you. In Dawn of the Dead, they get trapped in a mall, essentially, while the zombies surround the mall, okay? That's the plot point. Like, zombie films don't have much of a plot point, so that's the plot point. So, at about X amount of days in, because the zombies don't get in the mall, they're accustomed to just living happy and merry in this mall, doing whatever they want. But because they got the free range of the mall, they can do what they want. So, they go into the sports store and they play baseball, because they can get the baseball bat and they, and all that. And then, what it does is it kind of montages what they're all doing. So some of them are kind of running around drawing art. And
I want to also add, the music that they use it's like a Frank Sinatra-esque version of Down with the Sickness from Disturbed, which I think is fucking hilarious.
It's really good. And anyway, it's as it montages through, the character that's played by Phil from Modern Family is
I forget the actor's name.
I don't know his name.
It's Ty something. I don't know.
Ty something.
His character is that essentially he's basically a bit of a misogynistic asshole, and everybody doesn't really like him. But there's a hot blonde chick who's the ditzy blonde, whatever. There's all the stereotypes in the film as always. And then just halfway through the montage, it cuts to him bending her over the coffee station and just banging her whilst filming it with a camera.
It's pretty great.
Cuts less than 5 seconds in the scene or something, and then it just cuts to the next thing where they're playing fucking rounders or something. I don't know. And it's such a weird moment, but so funny. Just out of context.
I'd also like to acknowledge chat. T-Boy says no love for 28 Days Later. James doesn't consider 28 Days Later a zombie movie.
I do not consider it a zombie movie, although I will say it's a bloody good film, but it's technically not a zombie movie. They are not zombies. They are virus-infected people.
It's a zombie
zombies
movie.
are classified by being dead, and therefore not alive.
Me,
anyway.
You've probably seen it, James, but I don't expect Adam or Gabe to have seen it. But have you seen Dead Alive?
Is that the one where... No, that's I'm thinking of Cold Bodies. Ignore me. Dead Alive. I don't know. Tell me about it. I might have done.
Well, there's a scene where a guy, he takes a lawnmower and he just it's really comedy oriented, and it has different names depending on where it was really published. But there's a scene where this guy, he was having a house party and everybody turns into zombies, and he has this lawnmower and it's super gory. and he has this lawnmower, like, and he takes it by his hands, and he just goes through all these people and just like all the zombies and just like cutting them up.
Dead Rising's it?
Yeah, it's I'll send you a link to like the trailer if I don't find it.
I've not seen that. I think.
You probably get a kick out of it.
So, James,
Yeah.
since you love zombies and all that, how do you feel about the Left 4 Dead series?
That's a
games?
good series of games.
Okay.
I
just
enjoy
wanted-
Left 4 Dead. No, I
just
enjoy
wanted-
Left 4 Dead. That's a good series of games.
Yeah,
I'm still quite like a third one, although I doubt they'll ever do it because
they're like, we have enough money.
They're
Right.
like,
Doesn't
who
make
cares?
games
But
anymore.
It's like we don't need to make any other games. Dota makes us all our money, and so does Steam.
This is the problem I had, right, when I was trying to choose a game for the Halloween stream, just to peek slightly behind the curtain of the decision-making process. Because a lot of people already kind of knew what they wanted to play, and it was just myself and Adam that were kind of late to the party deciding what we wanted to play. And my problem is that I own a lot of zombie games because I love zombie stuff. So I was like, I don't just want to play a zombie game because they're not particularly scary, but they are cool. And I was like, but it's also kind of just my thing, and I don't think I should just play what I enjoy. I should play something... Like, I'm sure I'll enjoy Dreadout, but, like, I should play something different than just a base... Like, everyone's seen Dead Rising. There's nothing I can do in Dead Rising that no one's probably already seen on the internet. Whereas Dreadout's a bit less famous, I think.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
I've got... On my Steam account alone, I've got Dead Rising, 1 to 3. I've got Dead Island. I've got Dead by Daylight. I've got all these zombie games that I've got to get through. And then I've got a whole, 2 shelves of zombie movies. I just love zombies. I don't know what it is. I've actually got a zombie garden gnome in my garden. That's how much I love zombies. I have a garden gnome
question.
that's been painted up like a zombie. It's great.
Is zombies your favorite community member?
The irony of zombie is if he was legitimately a zombie, he might be.
But he has a
So-
chainsaw
He's actually a
fetish instead.
chainsaw fetishist, so I'm afraid doesn't do it for me.
So when did this interest of zombies first arise, Japes?
When I started watching zombie movies.
I know, but
Honestly, I don't know. I think it's because the first sort of zombie films I watched was the classic Day of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead, and then obviously, although it's not a zombie movie, I went on to 28 Days Later and all that stuff. And I just like the plausibility of
Yes,
it.
to point it out.
Well, I just like the plausibility of those films. I read a lot of zombie fiction, and I like the plausibility that it could happen. I don't think it will happen, because it's still a work of fiction, but it seems the most plausible thing, what with pandemics and there being a possible thing of, a disease that wipes us all out. Don't shake your head at me, Gabe. It entirely might happen.
No,
you have
that
no fucking
terrifies
idea
me.
what they're cooking up.
I mean, how do you feel about that
terrifies
insect?
me.
How do you feel about that one insect? The
cordyceps.
The porticeps that
Porta.
cordyceps. Yeah, that's what I fucked it up. They pretty much what is it? They take over spiders or whatever, and essentially they just take over their brains and
they're the
control their
basis
body.
Of the basis of the clickers in Last of Us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, but it's
Another great game.
You hear about
That's a
all
good game.
them drugs.
Oh, damn drugs!
Oh,
No,
damn
no.
drugs!
No, you hear about all the drugs that turn people into a zombie states where they collapse to the ground, but then
Yeah.
next minute they're up, they're drooling, they're trying to bite pieces of flesh off you, they're running into walls.
I think
and
you're
it's like,
talking about
no.
bath salt.
I think it's different. Well, there are drugs that they put you into a state where it looks like you're dead, but you're really
I'll
not,
tell you
or
this. I think I've said this before, but it might not have been on camera. It might have just been off when we were talking about stuff like this before, zombies and stuff. My favourite ever work of fiction involving zombies is a book series called the Newsflesh Trilogy. Although technically it's actually a quadrilogy now because there's 4 books. But anyway, it was a trilogy originally. And the premise of that book is that zombies happened. Nobody knows why, but there's 1 billion rumours as to why. And the book is set I think it's about 100 years after the zombies actually kind of first came to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the premise of the book is that because the normal news media is run by the government and general people who have a lot of money to lose, they spent all their time denying the existence of the zombies. So while people were dying, the news was like, no, there's no problem, it's just riots and civil unrest. And at the same time, people like us, for lack of better terminology, on the internet were saying the opposite thing, because they'd seen all the movies and seen all the pop culture stuff and been like, no, this is entirely what happens in all those films, so it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And when the book starts, it's kind of the new world where nobody trusts the regular government or news media. They only trust bloggers and internet bloggers, because they're the only ones that actually told the truth. And the reason that is because the scientist who helped create the zombie plague actually went on his daughter's blog, which was normally about flowers or something, and posted all the genetic research about how they'd fucked up and created the zombies. So he was like the whistleblower. And it's a really good book series, because it's all about how people have come to just live with the zombies because they can't get rid of them. Like, it's just everybody's infected with the virus, which in the book is called Kellis Amberley, which is named after the people who invented it. And that you all have it. You have no way to avoid it. All you have to do is deal with the inevitability that if you die, you then have to be killed.
Yeah.
Kill your loved one. So if you're with your mum or your boyfriend or whatever, and they drop down with a heart attack, people just shoot them straight in the head without asking a second question, because they're like, I know they're going to eat my face off in 5 seconds time if I don't. And it's a really, really good work of literary fiction. You should read it.
There's a good... I was just gonna say.
You go, Kevin.
Okay. There was a book series that I read in high school that was zombie oriented. It was called The Rotten Ruin. It was pretty good. It was basically like, I don't know. It was just like, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's just a lot of awesome zombie action kind of stuff. And there's a guy that has a samurai sword, and he's pretty good. I'd recommend it. Yeah,
I'll check it out. I've got a massive section of books in my Kindle library, just in a folder called Zombie Books.
Yeah.
I must own
James,
40 at this point. Yeah.
On the topic of zombies, before we move into our final game, before the podcast is over, I have a question for you. Of all the things... First of all, do you enjoy The Walking Dead at all?
I enjoyed season 1 and season 2, and then I have to confess, like most TV, I just fell off and I haven't got back to it yet. I'm sure I would if I watched it again. I just haven't got back around to watching it, to be honest with you.
So the thing I wanted to ask you, of all the different forms of The Walking Dead, comics, TV shows, or the comics, the TV shows, the 2 TV shows, I guess, and the video games, like the Telltale games, which is your favorite of those?
Oh man, but they're all so different. That's the thing. There's so many things you can do in, say, a comic you can't do on TV, because you can't film certain things because it's just not practical, or not, safe or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. The thing is, I'm not a big comic book reader, so I've kind of glanced at them, but I don't own them. So I guess the comics are probably out for that reason. And I think the games are good, but it's because it's such a story-based game, there's not a lot of immersion in it for me. I've enjoyed when we played those games on the channel, because in some ways it was like watching a movie, so I could just riff off watching you play them, and it was it was a different experience to me playing it myself. Because I find those games by the end of the one episode, I'm just I'm kind of done for now, and I'll come back later, because it's too much non-immersion. I don't know how to explain that. Whereas but yeah, I don't know. I'd probably go TV series, because it's more realistic apart from anything else. As in it, you look at the people and they look like real people. It's unfortunately the Walking Dead games, the graphics are not exactly great.
Well, the thing about the Telltale Walking Dead games is that they're not supposed to be realistic. They're supposed to be the cel shaded Telltale.
Oh, I know, but it breaks the immersion a bit for me, I guess, in terms of the spooks and the kind of tension of the moment. I don't know. I don't know. The thing is, like, I know that the Walking Dead TV series famously apparently got worse the further it went on. So a lot of people say. So I think somebody told me it peaks at about season 4 and then just continues to downslide from there. And I've watched like seasons 1 to 3, and I don't own them now. I just sold them actually because I don't keep DVDs a lot at the minute. But I had 1 and 2 on DVD. And I reckon the aesthetic of those was really good, but if it falls off as much as people imply it does, then I probably will fall off that pretty quick if it gets, if the hype is, or the lack of hype is true.
So I still watch the show like basically religiously, except for recently because my mom and I watch it together, but she has to work on Sundays now, so we usually watch it like a day or two later. But I will agree that it is kind of kind of down, kind of gone a little bit down, from a certain point, probably since the whole governor thing. I won't really talk about too much because I know if you end up watching it, I don't want to spoil anything. But
I know of the governor's thing, like I know kind of the story and all that.
And recently,
for me, that show, the moment that had me, I don't get on the edge of my seat a lot about stuff. If I watch a movie or a TV show, I tend to be like, this is good, and that's about it. Like I'll go, I enjoy that, but I'm not the sort of guy who when some people were like watching TV, they're like, fuck him up, Rick, get up there and punch his face in, and they get really intense on it. I'm not that sort of guy. But the scene in, I think it's season 2, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen season 2 of Walking Dead, but at this point you probably should have done if you haven't already.
Came out 2011.
Where, Rick and Shane have like their altercation in like the field.
Yeah.
All the while there's kind of zombies in the background ish.
Yeah.
That whole scene I was like, this is some deep shit. Like this is some good shit, guys.
Yeah. But as I was saying, recently it's kind of picked up again with the whole Negan thing, because the guy who plays Negan is just really likable, and like for the wrong reasons though. It's like, well, he's a douchebag. The character's like a total psychopath, but like the character,
So I gotta say, I've only seen 1 episode of season 7, and it was the first episode.
Yeah.
And then obviously season 8's already started.
Yeah.
But I haven't watched any of it.
Yeah. But I don't know, it's like at this point I've invested almost, I would because I've been watching it for the 8 years now that it's been on. So it's like I kind of have to. It's like I feel kind of I don't know, it's like I feel kind of obligated just to see it to the end, I don't know.
There's definitely an argument for that. Especially if there's a peak and a trough. Like, not everything can be consistently good the whole time. There's gonna be peaks and there's gonna be troughs. So you
if it's, it's like
wave,
if it's all peak, then it's like it gets boring, and then it becomes a trough, trough at some point, because it's like
I will say, I don't watch Game of Thrones, but the thing that strikes me about Game of Thrones as a non-watcher of that show is the only reason that gets the hype that it does. And hey, it might be a great show, so fair enough if it is, and I'm sure it is, to be fair, but a lot of the hype of that just comes from the fact that they don't give you it very often.
Yeah.
Like, they give you, the whatever, I don't even know how many episodes it is, let's say 20 episode series or something, and then they're just gone for a year and a half.
Yeah.
So people are like, by the time they're like, hey, Game of Thrones is coming back, people are like, I must see more Game of Thrones! The last time I saw it, I nearly shat myself with joy. And then, then they see that series, and then they're like, this is the greatest thing ever, and then they give you one hook at the end again, just to, keep
and
you
you're like,
again, and
I haven't seen Game of Thrones at all,
the full
either.
year and a half until the next one comes out, and they just ride the hype train.
Yeah.
Basically, great marketing.
Yeah.
We need to do that. Gabe, get on that.
Gabe, get on it.
Why me?
You're the
head of community, Gabe. And marketing.
Gotta figure out what people want.
I would like to take this time now to ham-fist segue us into Limited Night database. LNDB. All right, so this
wait,
time.
where's the theme music for this? Have we got theme music yet?
All right, so this
Let's
time
get us an audio strike.
we're gonna do it differently. We're doing games, but not just any games, specifically horror games. And each round, I'll be telling you if you need to get the highest score, the lowest score, or the score closest to 5 on IMDb of horror games. Do they do?
But it's actually.
Video
But it's
games on
actually.
IMDb?
I
No.
take it's horror games. You're also counting like
Hold
zombie
on.
stuff. Just
It'll
that.
probably be actually Metacritic is what you have to go to for that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Hold on, wait 1 second. They have video games on IMDb. So
Unless,
They do?
unless are you counting horror games as like just games that are really shit and we're like, oh god, there's such a horror game.
It's so horrible.
yeah, they have video games on IMDb.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Okay. So, first round, best horror game. Go.
Oh wow. And you're counting zombie stuff in this, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I know I make a weird subdivision of that, but it's kind of like my genre of horror, so yeah, I make a point.
Well,
of that.
zombies definitely like in the horror genre.
I'm gonna say Silent Hill 2.
Silent.
Oh, that's a good
Hill.
shout, buddy.
I have to make sure it doesn't take the movie.
Okay.
Silent Hill
Let's see.
2 from 2000. What year did that come out? 2001.
I think so.
Jesus. Yeah, probably.
For the
I
PS1.
was- yeah.
Can I say Soma?
Yeah.
Oh,
you
so
want,
that's
yeah.
a good shout.
That's almost pretty good.
That's a good. It's supposed to be a good game.
Soma. Is this the video game? Hold on, I think this is the game. Yeah. Okay. And
I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go cliche and go Resident Evil 4 because it's like the most popular Resident Evil in recent memory.
Okay. You guys are giving me games that also have movies.
There's not a fourth. Wait, is there a fourth Resident
Yeah,
Evil?
there's
There's
a-
a fourth
yeah, there
Resident
is.
Evil movie. Yeah,
The-
yeah. It's
Soma
called.
movie?
No.
Resident
I don't
Evil
think so.
4.
No, I think he's talking about me and Kevin.
All right, the
specifically.
winner of round 1 is Kevin.
Woo!
Silent
Yeah.
Hill 2, 9.4.
Damn.
Resident Evil 4 had a 9.3, so you were
Oh,
almost there.
so close.
And Soma had an 8.8.
That was
All
nowhere
right.
near.
Now, the next
That's still a pretty
thing,
good score, though.
worst
to be fair.
horror video games. Go.
Worst? Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, okay, I don't know that that's...
The Slaughtering Ground.
The slaughtering ground.
Yeah.
The...
That might not show up on
Slaughtering
IMDb.
Grounds. It came up on
okay.
IMDb.
Okay.
Okay.
Worst horror game. What about? Jeez, what was that game called? I can't remember the name of it. Hang on, I'll look it up.
It came out in 2014, right, Kevin?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Did Five Nights come up?
Yeah, Five Nights came up, and so did the
What's it
Slaughtering
called?
Grounds.
Zombie Driver HD, Adam.
Okay. Zombie.
I had to look up the name of that, so I apologise, but I didn't cheat, so I don't know whether it's any good or not. I just
Okay,
remember
let me
it
see.
being like a top-down car driving game where you
Alright,
killed
so
zombies.
this one does not come up on IMDb, so I'm just gonna Google it and see whatever Metacritic says. I'll convert that into an out of 10 scale.
Don't worry, I seem to remember it's not great, but it may not be the worst, to be fair. It's like, I remember it being like a Micro Machines type game, in that you look down, top down, like Micro Machines style on top of a car, and you had to just drive through zombies and pick up people like Crazy
Alright.
Taxi style. It was
So
really
the winner of point number 2 that shall be awarded, and the winner of the game in total is Kevin. Slaughtering
did it!
Grounds had a 1.0 on IMDb. Granted, only
1.0?
only 18 people rated it, but
Jesus.
1.0. Zombie Driver
That
HD
game
didn't
must
come
be
up on
awful.
on IMDb, but on Metacritic it had a 5.6.
It's average,
um,
okay.
And Five Nights at Freddy's had a 7.5, Gabe. I don't know what you were going for, but
Yeah, Five Nights
now-
at Freddy's popular game.
now
Yeah, but it was
we have to
everyone said
award
it was a
second
really bad
place.
game.
Kevin's won his game, so for for second place,
Hey,
it's gonna be a
1 second.
one-on-one
Someone-
competition with.
Someone said Last of Us.
Oh, Last of Us would have crushed. I think Last of Us had like a 9.8 or
Yeah.
something.
That
Is
might
Last
be
of Us a
best.
horror game? Do you count it as a horror game?
You said zombies.
I mean, it's... Yeah, I suppose it's kind of zombies.
Last of Us.
I
Yeah,
don't know if it's particularly
9.8.
a horror game. Yeah, I don't know.
Alright,
It's a weird
so
one. That's kind of a...
Now, Gabe and James, you two, since Kevin swept you guys, are going to be competing for 1 point, and whoever gets this 1 point will win second place.
wins a copy
You
of
guys-
Destiny.
You guys are going for the most average horror movie or horror game. Sorry, and by that I mean the closest horror game to a 5.0. Go.
The most average horror game. There's a lot of average games out there. What about Deadlight?
Deadlight.
Yeah.
I think I remember that.
It's like a side-scrolling platformer, like set in a kind of zombie apocalypse. Again, zombie fan.
Okay.
In case it's not obvious.
Deadlight. That came up. All right.
Like everything I know about games is zombie related.
Layers of Fear.
Layers of Fear.
Ooh, good choice. Layers of Fear. I nearly played that for the Halloween stream as well.
I'm just naming games that I know.
I thought Layers of Fear. I thought everybody really liked the Layers of Fear.
I don't know. I don't know much about it.
Why
I
does
own
this
it.
not come up? What the fuck? What the fuck? With
I
Layers
like
of Fear.
how,
Maybe
how
it's because
hot
it's like
Kevin's getting in his mask, by the way. Every
Oh,
like
yeah.
5 minutes, I just see him like pull it away and just like
Layers of
I
Fear.
can only imagine it's like sweat dripping
Yeah,
down
yeah.
his face right
The
now.
Alright.
sweat is building up.
And the winner of second place, James.
Yay!
7.0 Deadlight. Gabe, your game didn't come up on
7.0,
IMDb,
okay,
but it
that's
had a
good
75% on Metacritic, so I'm converting that to a 7.5. So
Close.
Yeah, you were pretty
neither
close.
of you were particularly close to 5.0.
I'm surprised Deadlight's that I've not played it, but I'm surprised it's as high a score as that. It must be better than I thought it was. I shall
Alright.
now download it because I own it.
All right, guys.
Podcast.
So
Like,
this is
turn it
about
off.
this about wraps up our spooky version of the Limited Night Live podcast. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider giving us a like and a sub. It would be really appreciated, and we would love you forever, like we always do for our fans. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at The Limited Night. And if you want to go to our website, it's thelimitednight.com. And you can also like our Facebook page at /TheLimitedNight. And if you want to come and chat with us on our community Discord, link will be in the description below and possibly posted in chat by one of the mods, hopefully. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this one. This one was, I think, a good one. You know, we had some fun chatting about some horror stuff, and we hope to see you guys tomorrow for the spooky stream. Woo, spooky! All right, everybody. We're signing off. See you. We'll see you next week at 9 p.m. GMT. Peace.
Run while you can!
Oh my god! Turn it off! Get him out of here!